Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Neon City Daily Podcast. I'm Jamie.
I'm Nick.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Dave.
And we have a full house today, and we have got a lot to talk about.
Mostly how much trouble Josh is in with his wife for spending money
How
on
much
Warhammer
trouble are you in,
miniatures.
Josh?
Do you know how many podcasts I edit? And it starts with us talking about things, and I'm going, okay, let's not talk about this on the podcast. Let's start. We start, and then it's the first thing brought up.
Well, let's get it out of the way then,
Well,
since we've hyped it so much.
It's like we get into these things just before we start, and it's like, oh, we're not done. And we got to make sure everyone knows.
Yeah,
No.
that's true.
We don't. It's okay. Jess doesn't listen to the podcast, so
We want to connect with you, the audience, about our lives.
Yeah,
It's very
exactly.
important. And
We
hello.
want you to know how hard we're screwing up on a day-to-day basis.
it was the crankiest I'd seen her in a long time. I'll be honest.
Did you have like an eye twitch?
Warhammer is an expensive hobby. I've got to
Well-
chuck that out there.
She may have been under the impression that those tiny little things of paint were $1 each.
Nah.
All right, let's set the scene, boys. I wasn't there. Nick, start us from the beginning and just kind of like gently ease us into Josh's
mean-
hell.
Nick's going to tell
Which-
it badly.
No,
You're
I'm
going to tell
not.
honestly.
He's
I'm
gonna,
gonna
yeah,
tell it.
exactly. That's
Very
bad.
particularly. And so I needed to get some paint for my miniatures, right? I kind of worked out what I needed and found a tutorial that I wanted. And
We've
And
got
that
into
was-
Warhammer recently.
yeah,
Is-
and
is
that
the
was kind
backstory.
of the deal. So we went into a store that's been branded Warhammer. That's like what Games Workshop are calling their Warhammer specific stores now. And we were talking on the way in about how many kind of paints we needed and that kind of thing. I needed like 6. Because I was pretty good. We got like a little essentials kit when we started getting our miniatures. And that was all well and good. So I think I needed like 6, maybe a base coat, spray can. So yeah, we're talking about what we're going in there to get. And, you know, I'm heading in for, I think, about 6 paints or something and that base, like I said. And Josh throws out there 21, that he's there for around 21.
No.
Things
It was
that pay-
17.
No, you said
No,
21.
It was
I
17
remember.
until we got to the store and I looked at the back of a box of some miniatures that I recently bought, going, oh, I forgot to check what colours these need. And so I had to add like 4 more to the list.
Uh-huh.
Right.
17 is much better than 21.
It's, by 4 that
Yeah.
you added to it later. We spent a while in there just like it, for anyone that doesn't spend time playing miniatures games and stuff, the community about these things is massive and really inclusive, and like generally everyone is super keen to get everyone else into the game like ASAP. Like if they can get you into the game, they will talk to you about getting you into the game.
Right.
And so we went kind of wandered up and we chatted a while. We looked at some miniatures. The sales guy wandered over and basically started asking us if we wanted to buy some more stuff. And I'm like, God damn it, I know like how this works. But yeah, we talked to him for a little bit. Then we trundled on over to where all the paint is.
Just quickly though, nice guy, Joel in a
Oh yeah,
Warhammer.
he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's
Not
actually
sleazy
super cool.
salesman. He was a
No,
nice
no.
guy, and he's very passionate about the.
But that is just the Warhammer thing. Like, if you can get more people to play this game that you enjoy, you do it.
Exactly, he was
You
very
try and get him
passionate,
play.
and it was very contagious. Excuse
Yeah.
me for getting excited.
Very defensive, Josh. I'm
He
getting
is.
suspicious.
He is. So, but I think like the point where this really hits is that like Josh tried to kind of get me in a little bit of trouble as well by
I did not. I was just being a good friend.
because I saw like I used to play the Lord of the Rings tabletop game. Was really into it. Had a whole Uruk-hai, like White Hand Army and stuff. It's great fun. Played with some friends. There was a set there, and I was like, "Oh man, it's the Battle of Pelennor Fields." I remember when that set came out. Da 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 da. And then we, then we went and looked at paints for a while. Then,
Well, you asked him how old it was, didn't you?
yeah, like I found my 6. Josh was looking. While Josh was looking, I thought I'd talk to him, and I kind of mentioned to him, like, "Oh, hey, you know, Lord of the Rings game. Like, is that still a thing?" And he mentioned it was a new thing now. I was like, oh, what? And it's actually like a new edition, and you don't have to have 900 rule books. And all this other kind of stuff. I'm like,
Backwards compatible with everything that came before it.
Yeah, well, you can still use all the old miniatures and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that sucks. That's a real conundrum. But I kind of, went, I'm just getting into Warhammer, so I don't really want to try to pick that up right now.
Yeah.
So Josh then like kind of tag teamed with himself, where he'd look for paint. The guy in the store would help him look for some paint if he couldn't find it there. But
I
while he
gave
was
up.
doing
It
that,
was so hard to find. So much paint.
while Josh was doing that, he was also trying to like swap in to tell me all about how I should buy that box of Lord of the Rings miniatures.
Oh man, misery truly loves company, doesn't it?
It was going to make me feel so much better if you dropped like $270 on a board game. Then at least I could go home and tell Jess, yeah, but like Nick spent $270 on a board game. Like,
You're such a kid, Josh.
But where this kind of goes is that after that, and we had the conversation. I've totally blanked on that dude's name again. What was
Joel.
it, Josh?
Joel.
After that, like we had a bunch of conversations with Joel. Mm-hmm. He's a cool dude, and yeah, we were just talking about some upcoming releases because the 9th edition for Warhammer is about to come out.
which I'm
so
pre-ordering, by the way.
I wanted to kind of have that conversation to see what he thought about was, like, if I have this, will that carry over? Like, because I haven't been there for an edition change yet. I played it like years ago when I think 5th edition was out. But yeah, I haven't like been mid-game when another edition's happened. So, I'm asking about that and the army list and stuff. That's all well and good. And I kind of like, so I'm going to mention this in the around the other way than it happened, because Josh made his purchase first and then I made mine.
Right.
But I think for dramatic effect, I need to talk about how, I got mine, and mine was, what I would call relatively expensive for just, some supplemental paint to do a thing. It was like $69, $68, $69.
Yep.
Nice.
The magic number.
But then, and I still remember like standing there
Mine
and
wasn't
looking at
that much
some,
more.
wasn't it, Josh? Because I remember the number 190 being thrown out there
No,
Yeah, you told me that number as well.
for paint.
I have a receipt for $174.
Oh, 174.
Were you including the parking ticket as well?
No.
So where this then continues on is like, yeah, so we leave Warhammer. That was a great experience. We got the stuff we wanted. We got some information from Joel. We talked about how the releases for Warhammer work, because that's stuff that we weren't sure about. Mm-hmm. We get back to the car and there's the parking ticket that Josh has. And we jump on in and head off. And it's all well and good at that point. I just kind of, nothing more was really thought of it until maybe 2 hours later when Josh flicks me a message to let me know that he's in trouble. Jess found the receipt. And I'm not going to lie, I immediately just felt bad for him, because I not only know the hole that is spending money on miniatures, but
Yes.
yeah, obviously Josh hadn't totally forewarned Jess about how brutal that was going to be.
She felt very proud of herself because she said, you're not going to go and spend a few dollars. You can't go to that store and then come out only having spent a few dollars. Like, you're going to come out spending like $100.
Yeah, dude.
and-
Honestly,
not
if she
wrong.
didn't know that after being married to you for so many years, I would
Yeah.
be a little bit worried.
Questions
She
would have
really,
to be asked.
really embraced this new hobby of mine, because on the surface it's cheaper than like PC building and staying up to date with computer hardware. So
Yeah.
and it kind of gets me off the computer, which she was strangely excited about. Even though it demands probably more of my attention, because like the painting aspect is just really difficult, and I have to kind of really concentrate. But
Yeah.
some reason she's a lot less supportive now.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
She thought you were just going to go out and buy like a bunch of Kinder Surprise eggs and like make the things that came out of them. You'd be like, oh, look at this. I can fight battles with them. She didn't realize that you were going to be buying like figurines that are like the size of a Kinder Surprise egg, and they cost exponentially more each.
They really do, and they're still just plastic. I would love to see the production cost for a set of miniatures, because It is just molded plastic.
As it is, we actually have like a crazy markup in Australia. Like this is something that I don't know if a lot of people really know about, especially outside of Australia. For Games Workshop miniatures, like everywhere has like a markup to make them profit, right? Australia and New Zealand get shafted. I think we end up with like a 60% markup.
Wow.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal the way that it goes in here. So that makes like it more expensive here as a hobby, and you know, it just makes it harder to get into. And we've got a smaller community, so it's like
Yeah, no one can afford it.
But,
so what you're telling me is
that
that
being
Games
said-
Workshop are the Adobe of pewter statues.
not pewter anymore. Most of them are just plastics now.
Oh,
I
even
haven't
better.
actually picked up a metal in a long time.
Why don't you just
So-
3D print them? It'd be cheaper in the long run.
You know, actually,
I-
Sam was here yesterday, and he said, you know, if Jamie gets into it, or like you hook up with one or two other people, kind of thing, like surely if you all went in for a 3D printer, it would ultimately end up cheaper. Like the 3D printer would pay for itself within.
I did see a breakdown of the issues that we have with that at the moment still, and it is just literally it's a mix between the level of detail on every miniature and the amount of time it takes to print these things, depending on your consumer level printer,
Yeah.
as well as like obviously the materials that you need for it, where it'll work out cheaper in the way that the materials will be cheaper. But between
You
the amount of
sacrifice quality
time,
and accuracy.
like you sacrifice quality, you sacrifice time, and then you sacrifice a lot more work, like cutting off fleshing and all that kind of stuff.
One
so it's
can
like,
only assume too
yeah.
that there's a legality issue. Like,
If you're not selling them, it should be fine.
yeah, as long as you're not selling them, I assume.
yeah,
it's
but I'm
fine.
not reselling a movie I download from Pirate Bay either. But
It's totally different. Like hell,
How's
you
it
could
different?
you could even learn to like model your own character. So you could just go into ZBrush, make a dude, put him in a 3D printer. That's all you, baby.
yeah, I'm just saying, if you took the exact design of, say, a Space Marine and 3D printed it, that money's not going into their pocket.
Doesn't matter. It's not. You're not. Again, you're not selling it. You're.
But that's piracy.
crafting something from,
You don't have
No,
to
it's
sell
not.
something. You don't have to sell something to.
Well, that's
be
the thing though. It's
committing
like piracy for a movie isn't like you not reselling it. It's you getting it without buying it.
Exactly, but that's
Whereas
what you're
with-
doing here.
But with the models, you're like, you know, their models get molded, put in a box, sent out to resellers. Then that product specifically is what they're worried about. If you make another one, unless you're selling it as that branded thing in like a weird made in Taiwan kind of
No,
way, I
I
don't think it's going to be that much of a drama.
I can't see them really liking people printing instead of buying.
they wouldn't be
off them.
pumped about it. Yeah, no, there's no way they'd
Yeah,
be
but
happy about it.
again, they wouldn't have a legal leg to stand on, because if you're just printing, if you're using your own resources to make your own things, it's the same way as like printing out your own cards to play like a game of Magic with friends. Like you're not selling it; it's just your own personal collection, so that you can actually play the game. It's one of those things where it's, I guess it would be a grey area, but like, who is going to enforce like, hey, are you there in your house playing with stuff that you paid for to make a thing? How dare you? Like, it's reselling that would be the legal issue here.
I
Yeah.
will say,
I have just done a
that-
quick Google, and yes, I stand corrected that the general consensus, keeping in mind this is a very cursory search, is that 3D printing is not illegal. 3D printing a Space Marine that's identical to Games Workshop isn't illegal. Selling it is, though. Even if you
Yeah.
just sold it for $1 to a friend, it boils down to you using their intellectual property for profit.
It's also technically counterfeiting at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I will also like just chuck out there as well that I would assume, just knowing the community and how it works, like whereas within the community itself, you can mod models, you can modify them and stuff like that, and you know add bits to them or take bits off as long as it works in the rules. But if you kind of like throw out some, you know, like weird kind of off-brand Space Marines that are not quite up to detail, or like or don't look like the sculpts that you get from Games Workshop, I can't see people being super pumped about you playing competitively.
For tournaments,
yeah.
you're not allowed in a tournament unless
Yeah.
it's an official, even if
official
it's an
model,
exact
yeah.
replica.
Yeah. You can't go to a tournament and like plonk down like a painted He-Man action
Yeah.
figure and say like this
And
is a
say
Chaos
it's-
Marine.
Yeah, but if
So
it's an
I will
actual
just chuck that
Games
out there.
Works run or affiliated competition, even if it's an exact replica of one of their models, it's still a no-go.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course.
you wouldn't. Yeah, that's what I was kind of getting at. Though, it's like,
Yeah.
if you want to look at playing competitively at all, you're going to want to stick with the miniatures that they make, so that you can run with the rules that they have for that model specifically. Yeah,
3D printing
Yeah.
has come a long way, but for this purpose,
Yeah.
probably not.
All right,
worth it.
boys, this is enough nerd shit. Let's talk about video games.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Stop
video
moving.
games aren't nerdy.
That's
stop
exactly
talking
the
about
joke, Josh.
physical nerd things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Time for some virtual nerd.
So look, the Steam sale has finally landed.
oh
Has
yeah.
anyone been taking a look? Anything good that you guys been checking out?
I
I'm
picked up
employed.
a couple of things.
I
What was that,
literally,
Jake?
since I sat at my computer, been editing footage from stuff that we've recorded, so I haven't even touched Steam in the last
Once
couple of
again,
days.
I
so-
have to carry this podcast.
I picked up Assetto Corsa and R-Factor 2 because they were cheap as
Nice.
ridiculously cheap.
I picked up nothing because I'm unemployed.
Yeah,
did
you
also
just
spend
picked up a
much
shit
money
ton
on
of paint.
what?
Interesting time to bring that up about
Yeah.
That didn't flow very well, did it?
No, it didn't.
No. That
Okay, well, the
worked
money
against
I
you.
have allocated for my hobbies has been
He's
used.
gone. Yeah.
I wasted it.
It's not a waste. The
not
paint
wasted.
lasts
It's
for
not
years.
wasted.
I don't know, the
Not wasted.
$42 might be from the
Yeah,
package.
that was unfortunate.
Oh, that was, yeah.
But
That
in
was-
Melbourne, you would pay that just to park legally for a
True.
day, so
True.
you know that helps.
You take the
somehow.
train in Melbourne.
Yeah, Jess didn't buy that excuse either.
So, Jamie, you've hit them?
Yeah, look, I grabbed a few games. I noticed that a lot of the fighting games at the moment are really cheap, which they hardly ever go on sale, and they're always quite a premium. So I grabbed Fighting EX Layer and Under Night in Birth, whatever the latest one, EXE Late R. It's got a weird name, but so yeah, those are pretty cool. Fighting EX Layer it's a weird one. I don't quite grasp how the combo system works yet. It seems to be that like if you throw out a punch and you don't connect, you are very punishable. Like you there's not much you can do, and people can kind of come in and just wreck you. And when if you do connect something, then you can like string it up into like a really nice fast combo, which is once you've started, it's pretty hard to get out. So I've only played that for like about 20 minutes or so. And kind of went like, oh, let's try Under Night. And I ended up playing that for hours. That game is just like, it flows so well. It's such a fun game. There's like this one character she just has gigantic fists. And so you're just bouncing around, smashing people with giant hands. And I'm about that life. It's a lot of fun. It's basically Melty Blood, Nick.
Yeah, right, okay. That's cool then, because like
Yeah.
But Melty Blood's like both extremely accessible and not accessible at the same time. So yeah, if there's like a game that can write to it, then yeah, cool.
I would say that Melty Blood is only not accessible because it's so niche. Like people don't really know
exactly.
about it.
No one knows about it.
But Under Night, I mean, it's the same developers as Melty Blood.
Yeah.
To the point where they've even got one of the flagship characters from Melty in that game.
Right.
And yeah, it's just I played the first one ages ago, and this new one is just more characters, same game, great, same great flavor, incredible new taste. I also picked up Record of Lodoss War, which is a Metroidvania game, and it's a very traditional game. It's very pixel art, and it's beautiful. It is such a smooth game. Apparently, they just updated it and added a second chapter, so it's in early access, and it was very early access. They only had like one level to kind of run around in.
Right.
They've added the second one, I think, and yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. The main character even has Alucards with Little Jog. So
He's with it? Yep.
Yeah. So it's very Symphony of the Night inspired.
Sweet.
Kind of like you can switch between elements as well. So you've got an air spirit and a fire spirit. I don't know if there are more. And you'll hit like certain points where it's like this enemy shoots fire, or this enemy shoots air, or there's some kind of air element blocking or fire element blocking you. And if you switch between them, you are invincible to that element. So there are sections where you're kind of maneuvering through areas where you've got to like switch elements on the fly,
swapping through elements.
Yeah, to not get hurt. And it's a really neat little game, and I totally recommend it. Like if you're into any kind of Metroidvania games, for sure grab what's it? It's Record of Lotus or Deedlit in Wonder Labyrinth.
Okay.
So I'm getting all the really good name games at the moment.
You're just like, you're looking at the Steam list, like, what has the longest name?
What is the most Japanese here?
Yeah. What sounds like something I can not remember later?
Okay,
Sweet.
well, on the other side of that, I also picked up Temtem.
Yeah.
Is
Keeping with the tradition.
Temtem subtitled Adjugars of the
there is no
Moonbeam
subtitles. It is
Dust Pants Mundafryer. Like,
Do you guys know about Temtem at all?
Only that you've been
I've
playing it.
seen some stuff for it. That's it though. So
Yeah,
that was a
okay.
while
So-
back.
It's basically a bootleg Pokemon game, essentially. Everything about it is just they've taken Pokemon and gone, now it's on a PC game and it's connected to a server, so the whole thing is like inherently multiplayer. So Lauren and I have that now, and you run around in like this is like a co-op mode that you can inherently go into, and so the first three of your Temtems and the first three of her Temtems make the group of 6.
Right.
You always do like double battles, and you can also set it so that, say I have a Temtem who has this crystal ability, but it has like a plus next to it that will synergize with a certain element. So if she throws out a Temtem that has a wind element, it will then boost the attack on that crystal shot and do extra damage. So
Right.
synergizing is an important thing, because even if you're just playing on your own, you always throw out 2 Temtem at once.
See, so they've basically done, and this was the reason I heard about it all, is that they've basically done what everyone's been nagging Nintendo and Game Freak to do for years, which was just make a co-op Pokemon game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I assume it's a
like
winner,
that a lot.
really. Yeah.
There's a couple of things that the game is, again, also in pretty early access, although they have one island that's completed. And I think that's like just a full story, and they've recently added a second one, I believe. So that's cool. And with that comes, like, I think a bunch more Temtem to capture and train and stuff. So
Temtem is so cool. I love
Yeah.
that word. It's
So-
fun to say.
I think the like stuff I'm kind of noticing that there are some things that they have done that I think they tried to do it for immersion, but it actually slows down the game. Where if you are walking along and a Temtem tamer goes, "Hey, I see you, I'm going to fight you," as would, say, perhaps a Pokemon trainer in the wild would do. They come up to you, and they normally in Pokemon they throw out like a single line. It's just, "I like to collect bugs," and then you begin fighting, right? If a Temtem trainer comes up to you, they're like, "I like to collect bugs, and I'm from the city of Bugatron. Have you heard of it?" And you have 3 answers to give, and they have like a little conversation.
No.
And, like, and it's like you can just go, "No, just fight them." But
Oh, okay.
there is also that it's an extra click. And it's like, I don't want to have to go, "Let's just fight." I want to just fight.
Yeah.
And just give me one sentence. Don't give me like a couple of sentences. It's a very little niggle, but I feel that it stacks up.
Yeah.
But other than that, the game is pretty... Oh, also you should always turn off voices for the characters, because they have this weird thing where if a character is talking, they let out like a little... And it's very annoying very quickly. You're just clicking buttons to skip through dialogue. It's like...
I don't know what you're on about. It sounds cute.
It sounds cute. It's not.
It might be once.
It's annoying. Yeah, it's cute for the first 3 sentences, and then it gets very old real quick. So that's just I played a lot of that yesterday, and it's pretty good. I reckon if you're like a big Pokemon fan and you want something else to do that's Pokemon-esque, Temtem is a lot of fun. And I
lot
also
more fun to say.
Yeah, they've also got there's like another Pokemon-esque game coming out soon called Ooblets, but that's not out. So I played Temtem instead, and I also
like a fair trade-off.
Yeah. I also picked up Gang Beasts because we were saying to ourselves, when that's on sale, we got to get that so we can play it. So I've upheld my end of the bargain.
That's Jamie's very subtle way of saying "oi."
Well, I believe I already own it.
You do already own it, Josh.
Yeah, you do.
So I've held up my end of the
Yeah,
bargain.
you were the guy who we all sat around your PC and couch played it for a bit.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I must
Yeah,
admit.
it's a great
fun
game.
Yeah.
It is.
It's
That
just like
said, isn't it quite expensive now?
it's on sale. It's like $17, I think.
That's still pretty pricey for what I remember it being.
Well, before
Yeah,
it was
no.
in early access.
Yeah, when it was in early access, it was cheaper than now. Like as soon as it hit legit release, it went poof, up a bit. So
I tell a lie. It's $14.47 right now. Normally, it's like $29.
Yeah. That said, it's only local multiplayer, isn't it?
Incorrect. It
Not
now
now.
has online.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
yeah, they figured that out. They put
yeah,
it
I
in
see
there.
it's better as a kind of local multiplayer game, but
Yeah.
At least
You
you can
kind of
play
want it
online.
as both. I feel like you just want your options open.
oh yeah, you don't want to nerf yourself when it comes to your market.
Mm.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, so we should all grab it, and we should all definitely play it. Maybe we could stream it.
Speaking of what people should play, I haven't checked the results of my post on Facebook where I asked our community what
I know
they...
exactly what they
Oh,
said.
it's Outlast.
Is it? Oh, I
Yep.
was afraid of that.
I don't think you realise that. 'Cause I
No
saw-
one likes League of Legends.
Yeah, I don't think you saw the sheer amount of comments that suddenly bounced on there and just went, "Yeah, we want to see Josh play Outlast."
That's
So-
unfortunate.
You're up,
Outlast.
buddy.
Oh, Jamie, seriously, you don't count.
I absolutely count.
Jamie commenting on the Outlast for sure. Like, screw you.
Outlast for sure. That's not me adding my suggestion. That's me spitting straight facts.
See, I restrained myself from commenting at this time. I was like, no, I'll just try and leave it to other people.
All Jamie was doing was leaving a pool of oil for the fire to spread to. That was it. The fire was
Yeah.
already there and roaring like it was going hard.
Slides in there as if he's another just fan.
I'm a big fan of my work.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm nothing if not compliant. I will give the people what they want. I'll play some Outlast, and I will play it tonight. In fact,
Ooh.
Just put a
Just
hard
let that
limit on
hang in the air. Just-
Yeah.
I just realised that tonight probably doesn't mean much to people listening to this on Tuesday.
No.
You're
No.
going to
It's
play
Sunday.
it 3 days prior, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Well, let's compromise. You'll definitely play it tonight, and also play it when you release this podcast, so people
It's
who are
true.
listening can go like, "Oh, it's tonight."
Ooh.
It's
Well, I
anytime anyone's
generally-
listening to it, you have to play it, basically.
I generally play for an hour at a time, so
Yeah.
I could
Nearly.
probably do 2 hours. I should have changed the names around. I said, what should we stream or record next? It should have been Josh versus League of Legends or Nick plays Outlast.
See, the
Why-
problem is that I know our viewers, and I know our viewers wouldn't fall for that because a lot of them would be like, "Hey, wait a minute."
Our viewers
Yeah.
are sick in the head. I'll be
I
honest.
definitely would have said Josh plays Outlast.
Yeah. Oh, well. I should have put some more options on there, but...
I should have thought this through.
I was wondering why you went to the immediate pain options
Well,
for both of
they're
us.
the only two, series that we've got going at the moment, so I thought, it was... I could have put Payday back on there, or I'd really like to record an Age of Empires game, because that's where I shine and you guys suck, so...
Looking for some redemption.
Yeah. Oh, we should do that, actually. I would like to play an allied moderate game where the moderate enemies are all allied with each other. Because I think last time, Jamie, you tried to convince me that we beat a moderate enemy, but they weren't allied, and it's just not the same.
It's because the game before we just ate dirt when they were allied, so kind of.
That's the challenge.
Speaking of eating dirt, does anyone care about Crash Bandicoot 4? It's about time being announced.
I do not.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a long time coming. I don't think I've even got a console it's going to play on. Yeah, it's there. It's been announced.
The
I
last
do
time
have
I
it on
played-
PC, the Insane Trilogy.
Oh yeah, I just I don't care anymore. If
Just
it's
for
good,
Jess,
that's
though,
great.
because-
Like, yeah,
Wow.
Crash.
Wow.
I only have it because Jess loved it,
Yeah.
growing up. So
I did too. Yeah.
I got it for her on PC, and you know how many times she's played it?
None.
Correct. So
That's why you should tell her that now that you're painting Warhammer miniatures, she can jump on there and give it a crack.
Yeah, at last you can play the Crash
Yeah.
Bandicoot Insane Trilogy while I spend upwards of $300 on additional paints.
I'm pretty set for paints now, to be honest.
You really are. I'm not going to
Yeah,
lie.
I believe that.
If we have another conversation where you say you've got to go in and get some, I'm going to give you a look.
I do need a brush, but that can wait.
You didn't get a brush.
No, like I've got
He's
brushes.
brushes.
I got 3 sets of brushes. But I need.
Okay, I want you to promise me this. Like right now, on air, I want you to promise me this. I want you to promise me that you will not go and pay the exorbitant amount that you have to pay for a Games Workshop branded brush.
Well, I already. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Again.
I
Nick,
won't
you're
do
too
that
late.
again. Yeah.
I mean, it's already happened once, but let's
Like the
just
day-
not do that
yeah.
again.
But honestly, I have 3 different brands of brush, and the Citadel ones, which is the Game Workshop ones, are by far the best. So
All right, Josh.
you got to invest. You got to invest.
Nick
It's the same
sigh.
with everything. You got to spend a little extra for that quality.
I spent years painting miniatures with budget store brushes.
Yeah, but I haven't seen any of your artwork. It could suck because of the brushes. So I'm
Because of
reserving
the
judgment.
brushes. I like how Nick was initially going, I just want to spray paint mine and get it over with. And now Josh's like, I don't know, Nick. I haven't seen your artwork. I can tell you how it is,
No,
Josh.
see, I will give Josh this, is that my spray painting is just like a base layer and then you paint over it. So
Right.
I can't rail on him too much for that one.
Exactly. You guys are just mean. Speaking of mean, George R.R. Martin has
Oh.
decided not to die before releasing The Winds of Winter.
Why
That's
did that
a
start
really
speaking
weird-
of being mean?
I don't know. My segues are getting worse.
You're like the guy who invented the Segway who just drove it off a cliff and died.
Anyway, he
But
reckons
yeah.
that he'll have it done by next year. And,
The Winds of Winter.
I care as much about that as I do Crash Bandicoot 4. So
I used to care, but it's been so long between books
the problem
that
I have
kinda
is
don't now.
love or hate the TV series and how it ended. I believe that they were still following the general blueprint that George R.R. Martin kind of shared with them for how the series would go. So whilst, obviously there was a lot cut from the TV series, a lot of characters disappeared, didn't even appear. If you care enough about particular characters, then you might want to read the books and just see how they end according to Georgie Boy, but
Yeah.
I don't think the ultimate ending. I think I read somewhere that in light of how they ended the TV show, he was going to completely change his plans for ending the book series.
Yeah.
But
Maybe.
yeah.
I just
Don't care.
Yeah.
Don't care enough.
There'll be a
you know.
Starbucks ad just randomly in the book.
Yeah, exactly.
Coffee
Yeah,
cup, just-
like should have it done by next year. I'm pretty sure I've heard that before.
Yeah.
I'm still, man, authors. I get so frustrated. Like, my favorite book series, probably of all time, is The Name of the Wind, and I'm still waiting for book 3 of that. That's supposed to have come out for years now.
Right.
So is that some trapped wind?
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It's backed up.
And I
a
know
bit.
how painful that can be. So
Yeah, writing isn't easy.
Yeah. See, that's why, like, it's kind of handy for me that my favorite book series, the author is dead. So it's like...
the Dr. Zeus.
No, it's like I genuinely reread Lord of the Rings, like, usually once a year or so.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just like, well, Tolkien's gone. That's it. This is all I
Well,
got.
it was interesting. We were talking about this with our new best friend Joel in at Warhammer, and the whole reason they kind of revived the tabletop game is likely because they're ramping up merchandise production in preparation for the Amazon series.
The good thing is...
Amazon series?
The
Which
good
is
thing
already the most expensive TV show ever made.
But that's where this hits, though, is that I've been hurt by stuff like this before, so my heart is stone when it comes to spin-off things like this.
Oh, absolutely.
It can just wash over me like water off a duck's back, and I can act like it didn't exist.
Netflix have the rights to Narnia, and that makes me cry on the inside.
It's gonna hurt. Yeah, it's gonna hurt pretty bad.
My favourite story growing up, and they are going to just butcher it.
Well, I mean, you know, the youngest sister that goes through the wardrobe, whatever
Lucy,
her name is.
yes.
You know, Lucy, you know who she's going to be played by? Oprah.
Aslan.
Like, it's going to be, she's going to be played by Oprah, and that's how this is going to work. And
Is this you
are
just
gonna
making
rock
shit
it.
up, or is this actual for true?
I'm sorry.
Because I
about
believe
that.
it.
No, I'm just trying to think of like the most removed person from.
Oh man,
the
I was
character.
about to break all the swearing rules we have for the podcast. Like,
See, that's the thing though, because this is where this is like how like the easiest thing I can draw this to, and this is literally what this came from. So I was reading something else about this the other day. Was the Neon Genesis Evangelion, the live action stuff?
Mm-hmm.
A 16-year-old German girl, red-headed, pale-skinned, like German girl, very specifically, who is German, is going to be played by, I think, a 37-year-old woman of color. And it's like, I don't I see what you're going for, but you're going a weird way around it, and you just kind of.
There's a thing where that you see it a lot in American productions in particular, where it's they take a beloved franchise or a beloved story, something that already has been made, and then they disassemble it and they remake it worse. And there's always this kind of like this very egocentric idea of like, we're going to make it for us, and we're going to make it like how the director's vision is. Yeah. Whereas you look at a lot of the stuff that they do in Japan, and like I love using the Ace Attorney movie as an example of this, because that was them going, all right, this needs to be instantly recognizable as the Ace Attorney series. Like, that's so amazing. The main character has to wear the suit that he wears in the game. He has to have the bullshit anime hair that he has in the game. Like it has to, like, the story has to be like in the game, even to the point where he cross-examines a parrot. Like we are doing this and we are committing. Yeah. Whereas if it was American, it would just be like, you get some guy, he'd have slick back hair, and it would just be a lawyer show.
No, he's not an attorney now. Now he's a surgeon. Yeah. And it's on the moon.
Phoenix Wright is actually now a doctor.
But yeah, I don't know. So I generally don't have, like, I assume the things on Netflix is weird. It's like you look at the stuff on Netflix that Netflix makes of other things, and
it's so hit and miss.
The production value is usually still there, no matter what. The production value is really good. They've got money in there. They've chucked it on there, and it looks good at least, and that's fine. But usually, they take it and they go, but I've decided this. And everyone that already likes the thing just kind of sits there going, ugh. So
the problem is anything made by Americans for Americans explains everything. Like, the audiences are so dumb.
Oh man,
that most of the time everything is being explained, and it just lowers the IQ of the room dramatically.
Wow.
Josh coming out
Josh.
swinging.
Shout out to our American listeners.
Yeah, no, like,
But clearly, you're
guys. You guys are
You're listening
smart.
to this. You're
Yeah.
cultured.
I'm a big sucker for a lot of things American, including
Yeah.
TV shows, because I like just switching off and, I don't want to
Not
say I'm
having to think.
smarter than... Yeah, exactly, but, like, you watch a British crime show versus an American crime show, and it's literally like preschool versus... like...
I can hear the shovel hitting the dirt. Josh is just.
I'm trying to be politically correct, but...
But you're fucking dense, guys. I'm
I
trying to
mean,
be correct,
well,
but I just
you-
don't respect your intelligence. You know?
You voted in Trump. You don't really do yourself any
Joshua.
favors. Anyway, I feel like they're going to stuff it up.
Yeah, they are. They are going to
They
stuff
are,
it up.
They are. Yeah, Netflix is going to stuff it up.
We might just cut everything I said and just leave it at that. But I'm not trying to be antagonistic. I'm just saying that Americans, I call it Nolanism because
American TV is built differently.
It's
I
the
feel
lowest
like-
common
built for
denominator thing,
idiots.
really.
Yeah. It's just so shiny and pretty and now sit down while I spend 10 minutes explaining to you something that if this was made by a European country, it would you would have to garner that information from subtext or something, like an intelligent person. But
I will admit that I feel like it's probably not even that indicative of like the audience. I don't feel like it's fully indicative of the audience. I feel like it's indicative of how the people that make these shows think of their audience or treat their
It's
audience.
executive decisions.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm on 6 figures a year because I sit in a chair and yell at people in this environment.
let's go with Nick's. That sounds a lot better. Yeah.
And so I just feel like they're like the guys that sit in chairs and make too much money. Look at this and they go, well, if they were smart, they'd be doing what I do. So I'm going to make this show specifically for what I think is the lowest, common denominator for our viewership that I've decided.
I think it's really important to go. Sometimes you will have, good programming and decisions and writing, and then you will have cynical production choices. And I think the best example of that is you look at Star Trek: The Next Generation, where all the episodes were like these ethical quandaries and trying to figure out like what right do people have to do this and that, and very, very smart and condensed into a 1 hour show. Each episode is a different thing basically. And then you look at the Picard series where it's just cynical and dumb and flashy and action, and it's not really Star Trek at all. And like that's the kind of thing. If you can get a production going where the people who are writing it and who are passionate about it have the room to move, they're more than willing to challenge you and go figure this out yourself, or I've left some clues here. I haven't outright, specifically told you exactly how to think and feel. I've kind of left some gray area for you to make your own decision.
Well, I mean, any David Lynch production. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the main issue I think is that like a lot of writers and people who make shows don't have as much creative freedom as they'd like because they're beholden to their executive producers and the people who are bankrolling the whole thing. Like if you watch the opening to the Picard show, it has like 20 executive producers listed. Like, could you imagine being in a room with all these people who have power over what you do, and they just ping pong ideas and cut out everything that is interesting and unique?
Oh yes, it has to be bland so it appeals to more people.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of bland,
decisions of lowest common denominator thing.
Let's move on because
you've shot yourself in the foot.
Josh doesn't want to put his foot in it again yet.
Moving right along, we're gonna just go straight into something non-controversial, and that is streamers.
Oh,
a lot of
who
rapists.
are apparently all scum. Some pretty bold statements, I know, but why do you all insist on being scumbags?
Like, seriously, like, famous streamers, like, big streamers, all that kind of stuff, you've just got to stop sending photos of your dicks to underage children.
Like to start with. Like,
Yeah.
That's a good start. Preferably
Yeah.
anyone. Don't send them to anyone, preferably.
Oh, just
Without
don't.
consent.
Just, yeah, exactly. You get asked for it, that's okay, buddy. You start an OnlyFans, people sign up for it, that's fine. You can have your buddy grab your dick and say they're learning to, like, drive stick.
Oh, but there's
That's-
one time.
That's okay. You can do that. But don't just go, man, a lot of people watch me on Twitch. I bet you want to see my knob end.
if you're a popular streamer, please stop sexually assaulting people at TwitchCon.
Oh, it's
You would
just
think it's
bad.
common sense.
Yeah.
But the problem I have is so many people are... The line of defense of some of these streamers is, but... No, so so-and-so's been permanently banned, but Affinity or Alinity or whatever her name is, who I hadn't even heard of until today, researching this, she's still on there. I'm like, okay, so I'll go and find out what she did wrong.
Yeah, what's that one?
And she had a quote-unquote accidental nip slip, and then on another stream, she her cat came across the keyboard, and she threw it off.
Is she also the one that, like, beat the shit out of a dog on stream?
No.
Okay, that's
Well,
another
not
shit
as far
thing.
as I
Right.
know. So,
Yeah.
like, you know, I've owned cats, the durable things. I've thrown my cat off the keyboard too if I'm
When
in
you
the
say
heat
she
of battle.
threw it off, are we talking like underarm or overarm?
Oh,
Over her
she
head.
lobbed it. Yeah,
Right.
no, that was
She
a...
lobbed it over her head. So probably could have done it more gracefully. Anyway, people are saying she should be banned for that, and that is somehow just as bad as their favorite streamer sending unsolicited nude photos to underage. Like, not a strong argument, I'll be honest.
I'd be a lot more annoyed if, like a streamer that I liked watching suddenly sent me, like, their genitals in, a 4K, like, 24 megapixel image, like, that just blasted itself on my monitor, than seeing them go, get off my keyboard, cat.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But then there's also, of course, a lot of women coming forward who have worked for some big companies, a lot of new game media companies,
Yeah.
with just horrific stories.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's like a second wave of Me Too in the game industry going on at the moment, and like it's so many perps. It's like every day someone's getting outed for just doing like horrendous shit, and it's insane.
It's seemingly come from. I mean, I know the first wave, there was a kind of a catalyst for that.
Mm-hmm.
This one, I'm not quite sure what kind of triggered it, but
I feel
it's a
like
domino
it was just
effect.
a lot.
yeah, it kind of
Yeah.
just seemed to get to a tipping point, and now everywhere you turn, no one is being left unscathed. It's
Yeah.
people that it's not like these people, but you might respect them or look to them for their opinions on video games and things
Absolutely.
like that.
Hell, one of the developers who I was gushing about to you guys the other week, I don't think we were doing it on the podcast, but like he got outed and was just like, oh man, really?
I hate it when that happens. Yeah.
Come on. Like,
Yeah.
just keep it in your pants,
that's-
guys.
That's like how even today, like when we were talking now, and I'm saying like the Warhammer community, I was saying that before, is
What are we
generally
in for it,
really like, yeah, come on, like let's chill, let's hang out together, let's all play this game, this hobby that we all love. But one of the major guys that does like painting tutorials and rules videos and that kind of thing, I can't remember his name. I only saw it kind of in passing, and like he's got a Discord that people can go on in the online community and talk to him and stuff. But yeah, he's apparently just really weirdly racist.
Oh, good.
And so there was actually a bit of a discussion the other week on Reddit as to like how damaging this is to the community, because they're like, hey, we're trying to actually be nice to everyone, but one of like the guys that everyone knows about and that like people tend to find first when they're looking for information on this hobby is weirdly racist. So like they're kind of having that at the minute. So
It's incredible the impact.
weirdly everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, we won't go too far into it. We've decided to kind of steer clear of political issues on this podcast, but it is incredible to me, and I mentioned this in the group chat with you guys earlier, just the reach and impact of these sweeping changes across the world now. Like, I read the other day that D&D are going back and removing characters or particular races or traits because because they're decades old. They were made in another time.
Yeah.
And they're basically going, you know what, that is a little bit in
On the
today's
nose.
day of age. Yeah. I was talking to my father the other day, and I saw an article. I'm like, the Dixie Chicks
Yeah.
are now just the chicks.
Okay.
I don't even
I don't even know what the
I
context
don't even
of that
know
means.
what Dixie is in a racist context.
No
but
idea.
Apologies if I've offended anyone by saying Dixie, but
Yeah, that's
you know,
okay.
and then you've got, of course, and I'm probably
you're gonna
blurring my own line here, but again, I think it's a good measure of the impact that this is having. You've got Family Guy, Simpsons, all the voice actors going, you know what, I'm white, but I play a black character in the show. I'm going to step down. And yeah, it's just no industry is immune. I mean, I know this is obviously nothing to do with sexual harassment and things, which is where we started, but
yeah.
it just seems to be this huge wave of kind
Everything
of
at once.
reflection and self-realization, and all I can truly hope for is that something permanent and positive comes out of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
you'd
we've
hope so.
seen this before, not on this scale, but we've seen this before, and my biggest fear is that we're just going to go around in circles, that nothing really is going to change.
No, we're going to see changes from this. Like, there's like, if you just kind of look at the way that, like, these things historically go, like, sweeping changes are going to happen. They might not be everything that we could hope for, but you know, fingers crossed that we see a lot more positive outcomes from this, because you know, people are out there putting in a lot of work and doing what they can to make their lives more fair, you know. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
it's one of
we're-
those things.
Hopefully
We're full
streamers
white
stop.
guys. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's,
Yeah.
we have been the recipients of, you know, all the bias and prejudice and stuff has been basically us. You know,
Yeah. We're finding out that our kind is a little bit shit.
absolutely. Oh, we are.
You want to talk
Yeah,
about
no,
your kind?
Yeah. Hang on, well, where are you going? Which kind? What have you done,
We're
Josh?
talking about streamers again.
Talking about streamers.
I'd just go with more my ancestry, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
You wacky Germans.
Did I ever
yeah.
tell you guys that in doing my family tree history, that I
Oh, no.
discovered
Where's
that
this going?
my grandfather's I was doing this via Ancestry and a few other resources. My grandfather on my dad's side kept everything, so documentations and stuff from his time in Germany.
Oh, no.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
This is going
His-
exactly where we think it is, isn't it?
His uncle was handpicked by Hitler
Oh, no.
to be his driver.
Oh. Oh,
So
jeez.
he drove Hitler around for about 8 months at
And
the
he
height of
didn't
his
even
power.
kill him.
Missed opportunity, I know.
I
But
think
he-
so.
Your
yeah.
family could have been heroes.
Yeah, that's
Instead,
right.
you're,
yeah.
you're just podcasters.
Collaborators.
Wow. Wow.
Anyway.
Looking forward to the edit.
Oh, I thought that was an interesting tidbit.
Yes.
Oh, it is.
No, it is. It is.
I had to verify that. I spent weeks digging into that to make sure that that was accurate, but I can't disprove it. Put it that way. It's
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
Wow.
that's neither here nor there.
Wow.
I'm not
Goodness.
comparing sexual abuse to Nazis.
Yeah.
They're both bad,
Yeah,
but
it's
on a
certainly
different
not
scale.
the Holocaust, but yeah,
I'm going to
streamers
stop
need to
talking
stop.
during this podcast.
So how about Cyberpunk?
Yeah, let's get on this business. Cyberpunk.
Yes, 5 different types of pubic hair.
That's not
is that
open to
what they're-
sexual
All right,
harassment issues
I'm
at
gonna
all.
preface this
Yeah.
with like they released the Nightwire.
Yeah, Night City Wire.
Yeah, the Night City Wire. I didn't watch it because I really want to go into that game blind. So
Yep.
just
Sorry to
take
spoil
it
it for
away,
you then.
fellas.
Well, for
Yeah, you ruined the pubic hair options. I can't
Yeah,
believe
no,
it.
it's just
Five
you've
types
trashed
seems
it.
very limiting, though. I
Oh,
don't
no,
know
not
if that's,
anymore.
I don't know
I
if
was
that's
going to say, I'm sure
5
more
per
will get modded in.
sex, or because the hairstyles aren't really applicable across genders. So
What do you
you
mean?
know, well, no, like if
what-
you went, you could have unkept, you could have like just
Oh, you're talking about
bush.
like pubic hair. Yeah, okay. No,
Like
I mean,
bush works on both, but you
You-
couldn't go like
all right.
landing strip
This
on
is
a
where I blow
guy.
your mind.
Sure you
This
could.
is where I blow your mind, and I tell you that I've seen a guy with a landing strip. The difference was that because he was a dude and he had other hair, the landing strip went all the way up to his chest. So,
It's a runway at that point.
landing a 747.
yeah. No, he was prepared, is what
Wow.
he was. But, yeah,
Oh,
so...
no, wait, hang on, stop.
Oh, no.
Stop. He missed an opportunity
trying to get away
like
from the
turn
dicks,
that landing
guys.
strip like into like
This
just,
podcast
like,
has
at
gone off the
the very
rails.
bottom should have been sculpted into a little arrow.
So
If
he
I
was
was
like an
him,
airbender.
if I was him,
Yeah,
I would get
a
tattoos
hairbender.
of those guys with the torches that direct in planes on either side of the strip.
You want a full like airport going
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Second runway.
Some
Or he could have
helipads
made
on
it
the
the big
side.
exclamation mark.
He could have. He could have. Every time he drops his pants,
Except
the
with
Metal
2
Gear
dots
Solid
at the
noise
bottom
pops up.
instead of 1.
Every time he pulls down his pants, that Metal Gear Solid alert sound plays. Yeah,
I think a lot of guys actually need that so to warn the women.
they sure do.
Streamers
Yeah, that's
definitely
Twitch
need
streamers.
it. Yeah, Twitch streamers need that business right on now. It needs to be an auto log. As soon as you sign on to Twitch, you get
Oh
that
my God.
noise
I
added
think
to your body.
Most of this is going to be more... There's going to be more edited out of this podcast than left in at this point.
No way.
No, this is great. This is great. Like
stuff.
I said, the longer this goes, the bigger that hole you're digging, Josh. I'm just saying.
You come for the game news, you stay for the personality. Whether you stay for the personality, I don't know. But
All right, Night City Wire. That happened. There was pubic hair involved at some point. I don't know when that came up because that certainly wasn't in what I watched. But
oh, that was afterwards, yeah.
okay.
Okay.
What they did was actually really good. They had I can't remember the name of the woman that hosted it. I'm sure everyone else will remember because she was there for the whole thing. She basically hosted and chatted to a couple guys who worked on the law and the mechanics and stuff like that. And they they went in a little bit. They showed a new trailer. They talked a little bit about the what they call the zones, like the areas and how many there is. I don't know how much more to mention about that specifically because I know Jamie wants to keep fresh. So I kind of almost want to see what he says when he sees the stuff that was new that they talked about in that. But they spent a lot of time focusing on a particular mechanic called brain dance. And what that mechanic kind of is that within the lore of the game, there was a way of people recording their experiences so that you could then basically play it back in your cybernetics to feel, smell, hear, blur, everything that they did.
Oh, so it's like the Harry Potter thing, but a lot more digital.
Yeah, like a digital version of that. And it kind of shows you how that can be used to see things that have happened from your own viewpoint. And then within that, because obviously everything's all cyber and connected and everywhere, you can zoom out and see the guy and see things around him and see things that he didn't see and hear things that he didn't hear and focus on things that he didn't know about. And it's just it looks like a really cool system to have as like a bit of an aside. I can tell that this is something that's going to be in there for, say, you're in a mission, you're figuring out what happened in this thing, and instead of sitting there just bumbling back through security cameras, it'll just have a little bit of a thing like this where you can actually see it and move forward and backwards and rewind and fast forward and fly your camera around and stuff. So
That's cool.
it's a pretty cool idea.
That sounds like a concept taken from. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't remember what it was, so I didn't want to say it.
Yeah, it's very similar to some of the stuff that you see in William Gibson books, like Neuromancer, Mona Lisa Overdrive, and Idolru and stuff like that. But like, yeah, just the idea of taking, like, I think where they had it was like you would take someone's experiences, like a good experience, and then you'd plug it in your head, and then people would just sit there and die. Because like they're like really in like a shitty situation where like they're homeless or something, or they're drug addicts, and so like they take these experiences, which are essentially like a new type of heroin, and they think they're having a great time, like they're skiing on the slopes or something like that. But in fact, they're just in like a hovel dying.
Yeah. Well, the way that this was explained in there, and like how like the link to kind of your underground world kind of works is a lot of these tend to get recorded as like a bit of a high for people, and people it's specifically noted that people kind of pay a premium to be like, you know, feeling someone's experiences as they flatline, as they get killed, and stuff like that. And it's like it's one of those things where like, they even talk about it when they talk about the law for a little bit, where it came from like a specific place of like, we were trying to figure out ways to record experiences and monitor things. Then over time, because I think it first came out in what they call the 2020 edition of Cyberpunk, which is the game that was set in the year 2020.
Yeah.
And then, over time, it obviously morphed and people started using it for jarker and jarker things. And, you know, not just porn in the end, they wanted everything else. And so, there's like basically addicts out there that'll, you know, pay premiums to feel someone having an immense high and dying and stuff like that.
I could also be thinking of it might have been something that happens in Shadowrun actually as well.
Total Recall
might be.
I'm just trying to think where like I've heard that concept before, and I either read it in a book or I played it in a game, and it's doing my head in.
I feel like it could have been in Shadowrun as well, because Shadowrun is a very like Gibson driven narrative too. So.
Yeah, it's basically just like a neuromancer with
fantasy.
With orcs.
I have watched a movie where the rich can pay for very real life like dreams, I suppose, for them, but you know, it's playing out the real life experiences of those, or memories of those that have died.
Little bit of Minority Report in there as well.
A little bit of Black Mirror.
Yeah, that's annoying me now too, because I recently watched whatever that was. There was like a police officer, and he had to track down someone, and he went to a bar where out the back of the bar, it's like, you go out there to experience like traumatic shit that people have gone through.
Right.
That are, you know, a class below you or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, it sounds
run a bit off the caste system and
as an investigative tool.
But yeah, they kind of spent a lot of time on that. One of the things that I liked is that they showed a bit more, or they talked a little bit more about vehicles being a thing, which is good, because I feel like if you're going to make this big living city, that's something you want to be intuitive, is the travel around it, I feel. And not even necessarily intuitive, but more like, you know, I feel like I'm driving, blah, blah, blah. And the stuff they showed looked really cool.
A roach.
If you call it and it ends up on top of a building nearby and shit. But yeah, I definitely, everything they showed, I'm super keen for. The good thing about Night City Wire was that this was episode 1 of the Night City Wire. So I think it's monthly from what they said. They're going to be doing like a bit of a new thing where they're going to be showing a new mechanic or just some new info, or so they're doing a lot of info dump. I think like Jamie's taking a really good approach. I like that approach of not taking in anything so that he can be fresh. I feel like I'm going to watch it though, because I feel like it's just going to get the better of me, and I'm going to end up just going, it's there. It's there.
They also announced the TV show, didn't they? So
No,
Yeah.
the anime.
animation.
The anime that's set for 2022. The release date, I think. Is
Yeah,
that?
that's right. Yeah.
So we've got to wait, obviously, for that
That's
to come
strange
out.
because usually that is like another tool to get you excited about.
It depends when they did the deal,
Okay.
but like,
Yeah.
they do. It's getting done by Studio Trigger, who are pretty renowned for like crazy dynamic stuff. They did stuff like they recently did Promare. They did the very hardcore Little Witch Academia, and
they did too.
the action titty flick known as Kill the Kill. So it's good pedigree there. A lot of guys from Gynax.
I feel like the good thing about that is that I'm assuming kind of, they've got the same mentality for stuff tying into their game as their game. So they might have set that deal up like, maybe a month or two ago, and they're like, yeah, look, you just take your time and get it right. They're not
Shows that
they're
they're
not screaming at the
invested.
studio, yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to release the game and then go, all right, kind of on to the next thing.
You know what this
Yeah.
kind of reminds me of a little bit?
It's that.
It makes me think of the Animatrix.
Yep.
Remember when they did that?
Yeah. I did have a weird thing though, where I actually really liked a bunch of stuff in Animatrix.
There's nothing wrong with it.
And-
It's just reminding me of that same kind of like tie-in with going,
Yeah.
like, yeah, we like anime, so could you make us some?
But that was the thing I feel with that was that like that was like the good tie-in for that. But then they did stuff like the game, and it
Which
was
one?
like
Oh, the online was okay.
Yeah, and Enter the I never really played the online one. Enter
No,
the
I didn't play
Matrix
the
was
online
like
at all.
that was very weird because
Yeah.
they literally took a couple of characters who
Yeah.
have like cameos in the movie and then made games about them.
Ghost
so you
and
could see what
Niobe,
their-
yeah.
you could see what their adventures were. That was an odd game.
Yeah, it was a weird game. I never played the Path of Neo.
Me
Just
either.
remembering that, but
I
yeah,
think both were made by Shiny, right?
I think
back
so.
when they
I
existed?
think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
As an aside, I'm very interested to see how they explain away or justify number 4, which is
For the
it's
Matrix,
wrapped
yeah.
production. Yeah,
Well, Neo is Jesus, so he comes back.
Yeah. That's
Pretty
Yeah, that's
much.
probably it.
you
That's
never
probably
see
it.
him die. You don't
No.
know that he's dead at the end of the Matrix 3.
Mm.
So, as my father
I-
would say, unless you see them dead,
You got to see the body.
Yeah.
there's always a sequel.
If they fall off a cliff, you can't be sure.
It's true. It's true. That is the whole premise for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Just chucking that out there so you guys know. So, yeah,
Cool.
yeah. Chucked a baby off a cliff. She's still
One
there 20
thing
years
I
later.
was really interested in was, and well, it doesn't really relate to our scummy streamers, but Tencent, is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah.
Tencent.
Yeah,
Tencent.
is apparently building a Twitch rival.
Are they
I can't
though?
wait to not use that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
why I'm thinking that.
that-
Like, I'm sure they think they are, but
Now, depending on the market, like if it's for the Chinese market, then probably go
yeah, that's-
gangbusters.
because they'll be in with the government, and the government will tell them what they're allowed and not allowed to put on there, and they'll regulate that heavily, and the government will go, "This is the streaming system we want."
The fascinating thing is
So-
a lot of people on Reddit are basically saying, "Oh, no way would I, ever use that. Kill it with fire."
Mm.
But then those same people in the League of Legends subreddit, they don't mind playing League of Legends, which I believe is 100% owned now by Tencent.
Yeah, it is.
It's been
Yeah, it
100% owned by Tencent for a long time.
Long
And the
time.
only reason
Yeah.
why they still play the game is because they're in a toxic relationship.
They're addicts.
Yeah.
It's heroin.
Hey, do you think that the Cyberpunk anime would be in the same style as Inferno Cop?
Well,
It's
I've
just
not seen that. So
It's
I
just a
couldn't-
PowerPoint presentation, essentially.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Oh, jeez.
Also made by Studio Trigger.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Who knows, James?
I'll,
He could be.
Yeah, I'll send
could
you,
be
an
staring into
episode
the
of
future
Inferno Cop,
with
Josh,
that
so
one.
you can know
Well, I look
exactly
forward
what
to
to
that.
expect.
Everyone at home, check out Inferno Cop. There you go.
Last anime, is it anime?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last anime that I watched on your recommendation was that stupid Attack on Titan.
Oh, wow.
Oh, jeez. That's a
forgot
while
about
ago,
that.
man.
It
was a while
wasn't.
ago.
Yeah, I know. And the thing is, I think it would have been a lot better, or
Watch
I
it
would
week
have
to
looked
week.
back. Yeah, looked back on it a bit more fondly if we didn't try and binge it. Because
Yeah, no, I still
I don't know.
maintain, like, because, like, even as we were watching it, like, I was going, like, yeah, I really enjoyed watching it, but I was watching it on a week-to-week thing. Then we tried
Yeah.
to binge it, and I'm going, like, oh, no, this doesn't work well at all.
No, is it? Now I don't watch a lot of anime. Is it normal for them to spend like the first third of a new episode just basically playing the same thing that happened in the previous
No.
episode?
Nah.
Because that seemed to happen a lot in Attack on Titan.
That,
Yeah,
that,
Just
that was a lot of them
retreading.
just, like, filling for time, it felt
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's not an on the reg thing. I'm glad that's not an on the reg thing. I probably wouldn't watch as much anime as I watch if it wasn't on the reg thing,
Yeah.
because that was frustrating.
Yeah, it was.
Has someone gone and edited it down so it's easier?
Don't know. I haven't.
Some fan would be like, I like the good bits, I just don't want the readers.
Yeah,
all the
I don't
time."
think I've watched it since the second season, and I'm pretty sure there's more than that now. So I haven't really taken it. I
I
kind of
like
just like
Hellsing
lost interest.
Ultimate.
Yeah,
That's about the extent of my anime
See,
collection.
the last
I own
time
it.
the last time I sat down and watched anime, I think it ended up being just like a bunch of episodes of JoJo's
yeah.
Thingo
Would you-
Adventure.
Bizarre.
Would you count the titty games that you play as like?
Oh, they're
some
anime as
kind of-
fuck. Yeah.
Yeah.
but you also say that I play them. I've got a library of them. I'll give you,
You don't
that.
play them. You experience them.
God damn it.
Did I tell you that I installed one and played
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. You also
Yeah,
told us
that's
that it wasn't for
uninstalled
you.
now. Yeah. To
How,
be
how
honest,
far did you get?
I don't even know which one something story, Sekiro's story or something. Anyway, I don't know. I've told someone about this, but it started off actually quite interesting. You know, you're in the apartment, you're bored or whatever. You call some people, your brother's busy. You decide to go for a walk. You end up at a temple. You offer your help to the monk or whatever. And he's like, yeah, nah, bruh. And you're like, okay, but I'll leave. And then you turn around and it's like suddenly chick in the bushes with her breasts out.
Yeah.
And she's the happiest person you've ever seen in the world.
Yeah.
And I quit. I'm like,
You know
no.
what? If you ever wanted to play an actual visual novel that isn't there to just try to like titillate you, you should check out Steins Gate. That's a really, really well done. Just a lot of reading. Obviously, it's a graphic novel, but it's a time travel story. It's really intriguing. A lot of multiple endings.
Because I don't mind the delivery. I don't mind the like the actual game style.
The format
or
itself
genre. The
yeah.
format, is pretty relaxing, really. I mean,
Yeah.
you just sit there, you read, but you've also got some visuals to go with it that help
Yeah.
kind of build the world. But yeah, my own
Yeah, no,
experience
so
is just
Stein-
some random stalker chick in a bush.
Yeah. No, Steins Gate, really good story. And the Higurashi When They Cry novels are also really good. They're just basically like horror stories where like this like a terrible thing happens, and then in the next game, because they're like essentially each chapter is a game, and each time the new game comes in, like the story kind of resets and something else happens. And so it's slowly kind of like unearthing all these different aspects about these characters, and you're still trying to figure out what the hell is going on. There is like some kind of curse going on, but like sometimes it's just like the entire town attacks a guy, or everybody dies for like because a volcano erupts or something, and it's just but it keeps resetting. And so you're trying to every time you think you kind of got a grasp on what's happening, the reset happens and you don't know anymore. And
Wow.
I guess that has actually been turned into an anime. I've never watched it.
Yeah,
so,
it got turned into an anime.
Yeah, but they're really intriguing. I think each chapter is about 15 hours of reading or so.
Yeah, okay. It does remind me, whatever happened, these aren't visual novels, obviously, but they're kind of a step towards that. The Wolf Among Us and...
Well, Telltale died.
yeah, what? I thought they were quite popular games.
Well, it wasn't so much that they were popular. It was like the frequency that they were pumping out the games there was some waning popularity because like they kept trying to get big names to license.
Well, they had
with.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, they had
In the
Game of
end.
Thrones. They had Batman. Like they were trying to get properties that people knew, and so there were like licensing fees with that, and then they also were like underbidding, I believe. So they
Yeah.
didn't actually have
Yeah.
that much money coming in. Their entire model was only sustainable so long as they were consistently pumping out content,
Yeah.
and
Right,
it
okay.
got the better of them. And
It just
they
wasn't
crumbled.
feasible for that longer period of time.
Yeah, people were burning out. The game's qualities were suffering because, like, I mean, The Walking Dead was the one that really made people go, like, "Oh wow, that you can do really interesting narrative things with this game style."
Yeah.
And they kind of try to just emulate that for the rest of their games, but it didn't always work. I mean, you look at like episode 2 of The Wolf Among Us, and it was like super disappointing. And then there were other games that go like, yeah, they're okay, but they're not great, and they're trying
Yeah.
to do these things that they aren't actually being as meticulous with their planning, because it used to be that they would have a writer and a game designer, and they would pair them up, and they would go like, I want the character to do this, and they go, okay, how can we make that interesting gameplay wise, which is what happened with The Walking Dead. And then after that, it was just sort of like, oh, we don't really do that so much, but there's a writer, and then like the people go off and they churn it out.
Yeah,
And everyone burnt out really hard, and
Yeah,
so
okay.
they were losing like developers, and their engine was shit, and they were trying to just do too much with not enough, and yeah, it just.
What a pity,
strained
because
and
I really
broke.
liked the first part of The Wolf Among Us.
The good news though is I think someone bought the rights to The Wolf Among Us, and they are
Really?
doing a second season. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right.
Nice. Because that was actually my favorite one. I feel like I loved the
Yeah.
first season theme for The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
And really, yeah, the only other one that like stuck in my head was The Wolf Among Us. I played the Game of Thrones one, but that was kind of a case of like, oh, they died and they didn't do a second season, so I've got to kind of forget that really, because that was built to have more than one season thing, and you kind of got to a point you're like, oh, it's been years, it still hasn't happened. They still don't seem to be doing it, and then they died. I'm like, oh, it's really not happening now. So I know at least with The Wolf Among Us, there was hope that they were working on the second season. But no, The Wolf Among Us was blatantly my favorite one.
Yeah, so what happened was Telltale went into administration, and so everyone kind of like left. So they're still technically around, but they don't have people working at them. But like what's
Yeah.
going on is Telltale have now partnered with Ad Hoc Studio, which is a creative house formed by former Telltale Games employees, and they're going to be doing The Wolf Among Us too.
So, hold on. They bought themselves, essentially?
No, they
Oh,
didn't have the
no,
money
they-
to buy themselves.
No, they went. They just laid everybody off essentially. From what
Right,
I
okay.
understand.
Yeah.
And so like they didn't have to pay anybody anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's going to be another Wolf Among Us at some point. Who knows when? Like at this
That's
point,
good news.
at this point, it doesn't really matter how long it takes for it to come out. There's like I would really prefer them just to go like, here's the whole thing, not
Yeah.
worrying about doing a
Episodic
Oh,
thing.
the
episodic
episodic
thing,
thing, yeah. That was that. No matter what series that was, it was frustrating for me.
I found
yeah.
that really killed my enthusiasm to continue playing the game.
What I'd do was, no matter what series it was, I'd like when I kind of went and started playing it, I'd go, yeah, cool, blah 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 blah, and there'd be like 3 episodes. So I'd play those 3 episodes, like I just go nuts, just go ham, and I'm like, yeah, sweet, yeah. But then it was over, and then I'm waiting, and then it's like a month later, and nothing's happened, and then it was 2 months later, and the other part had come out, and I wouldn't even notice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I definitely, when I first played The Walking Dead season 1, I think it was, I had to wait for 1 episode to come out, and like the whole thing was done. So I started playing it, and I got hooked. And you get to the thing where it's like, oh, what's gonna happen? I'm like, oh shit, now I gotta wait. But like, because I'd experienced the first 4 episodes, I was really hooked, and I was keen. I had to know what happened. But then I played like the Walking Dead season 2, and I played like the first episode, and I did not care. And like no one had really grown on me, except for the main character, obviously. But it was just sort of like, I don't want to go back. I don't care enough. Like, you had me, you lost me.
Yeah. I was in, now I'm out, and you haven't kept me there.
Yeah. Yep.
Might be out of Star Wars now though, just railing into that to at least get that in before we finish up here. Did anyone else hear about how EA have made the promise to double down on making more Star Wars games?
Does that mean they're going to make 2?
Well, I assume that doubling down is code for EA screaming, do it more and faster. So that makes me immediately worried, and I'm very worried that we're going to get, we had Fallen Order, we're going to get Squadron, and then they're going to be garbage after that again. So
that's the thing. I think if they nail Squadron after nailing Fallen Order, they're going to buy a lot of goodwill.
Yeah,
and I'd
but
hate
then
to
they're
see them
going
squander it.
to just dump it in the bin, man. Like, I just have no trust.
How they handle another Battlefront or similar game. I think that'll be the deciding factor.
Yeah. Well,
Here's what I reckon's going to happen. They're going to release Squadron, and it's probably going to be good. They've released Fallen Order, it's pretty good. They'll probably do like another Battlefront game. Don't know what that's going to be like. Maybe it'll be good, probably not. And what's going to happen is the next Fallen Order game, they'll try to make that annual. And so it will progressively get worse and worse as EA get more and more involved in it. And they'll do the same for Squadron if that becomes popular. Again, each year they'll try to have another thing out. Maybe they'll get to the point where they're alternating studios trying to get stuff working. And the quality's going to decrease more and more.
Yeah.
Call of Order.
Yeah, that's
You better
Star of
that.
Duty, Call of Duty Wars, Modern War Squadron Space. Yeah.
Now,
78.
It's going to be a Mass Effect situation where, you're looking at like Fallen Order where it starts out strong, but you can see it getting, you can start to see the corporate...
You can see the cracks.
The corporate infrastructure just whittling away at what was good and making it not as good.
And I'm going to be so much more... I feel like that's going to make me so much more mad than if they didn't do anything good at all. Because they've given me this little tidbit, these couple games, they're going to give me these couple games that are really good, and I'm going to go, yeah, I'm running on this Star Wars hype for video games, and then they're going to shoot it into the dirt, and I'm going to be extra mad.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no...
If you want to be extra mad about Star Wars, you need to watch the last movie.
I still haven't watched the last movie. We had that conversation a couple of weeks ago. I still haven't even touched that.
I watched a review about the last movie. I'm glad I didn't see it.
Wow.
That sounds awful.
See, I stood there the other day, actually. I was standing outside Sanity because they had a sale on a bunch of Blu-rays, and I saw The Disaster Artist sitting there.
Oh.
And I was like, oh yeah, The Disaster Artist. I could get behind that. That was actually in the wrong spot because it was a DVD and it was on clearance for $5. So that tells you how well that went. But I was standing there and it was how many Blu-rays for this much money, or $15 each. And I'm kind of looking at it, and I'm looking at Star Wars, that movie, and I'm looking at the Joker movie. And I'm looking at them, and I'm like, I'm just going to grab the Joker movie.
Is that the movie with the Joker?
Yeah. The Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie.
Was it good?
Yeah. Oh man, the Joker movie's great. I loved it. It was
I haven't
amazing.
watched that one yet.
I'm not going to pretend it's some kind of magical philosophical soul awakening movie like some people do, but it's just a good movie.
It's no Man of Steel, then.
I hope it finally
Man
answers
of
the
Steel
question.
put men to sleep.
Why are you so serious?
Why are you so serious? But no, it's as long as you don't run it from that edgelord perspective and decide that it's a life defining movie, it's a good movie. It's a really good movie. So
Cool.
It's definitely, but yeah, that was kind of the thing though, is that I'd seen that in the cinema, and I knew that I wanted to pick that up again, and I'd seen that in the cinema on just a whim. But and it was brought up, I think, almost the exact same way, where someone said to me, "Oh, hey, we've got a day free. Oh, do you want to go see Joker? Because none of us have seen it yet." And I just went, "Yeah, sure." I know for a fact that when Star Wars, what is it, the Awakening of the Skywalker, Last Awakening Jedi or something?
Yeah, Skywalker wakes up.
Yeah, when I had almost the exact same scenario. Someone, should we go to the movies? I remember looking at the list and just going, and I didn't. So that's how much faith I have in most Star Wars things now. Other
Yeah.
than, like I said, Squadron looks good. I'm keen for that. But then if
quite
EA are going to
optimistic.
really bounce in, they're going to go, So,
Let's
Yeah.
see if they keep their promises.
They won't. Anyway, so before we sign off, what's everyone gonna be playing this week? What's on the horizon?
I'm going to try some League of Legends.
All right, what are you actually going to play? What real game are you going to play?
I'm still going to try League of Legends.
Fucking lost
Right.
cause. Dave, what about you?
There will be some
Oh,
League of
yeah,
Legends,
go to
but
Dave, that'll
also,
help.
there will be some R Factor 2 and some Assetto Corsa, just because I picked them up on the Steam sale, I imagine.
Nice.
I am keen to hear about them.
How about you, Nick?
Oh, man. Actually, I've been in a real Monster Hunter World mood lately. Like, just hit some more Monster Hunter. And I guess I'll see if I pick up anything on the sale when I take a look at it in a bit. But
Age of Empires.
oh yeah, we
Took you
we
so long
probably
to get to
should.
that.
Yeah.
We probably should.
If you
Josh,
guys
should have
man
mentioned
up,
that
we
instead
should
of
play some
League
Age of
Legends.
Empires. I'm just being honest. I'm going to paint some Warhammer models, play some LoL, get angry at LoL, go back to Warhammer. It's a vicious cycle.
I feel like this is the perfect opportunity for some self-reflection and self-improvement.
No.
You're gonna have a
Really,
lot
you
of
need to watch a
alone
Star Wars
comments.
movie.
Yeah. Well,
Oh.
I myself, I'll probably play a bunch of Tam and some Under Night. I'll push through some Divinity 2 a little bit because I think I'm on like the last chapter for that.
Wow. Yeah,
I
okay.
did get Pillars of Eternity Deadfire, so I have to try that, see what that's like. I hear good things. I guess I'll probably like join Nick for some Monster Hunter World and maybe do some Fantasy Star stuff myself as well. But it's going to be a pretty dry week, I think, because we'll be.
Well, you're gonna be in quarantine.
Age of Empires.
I'll probably play some Age of Empires, maybe some Warhammer, and but yeah, a lot of packing going to be going on this week, so I'll see how much I can get through.
I'm unemployed, so I'll be here.
All
Spending your money.
day, every day, 24/7, riding the Josh train.
All right, boys. Well,
Oh, can you imagine
Oh, no.
how much Warhammer I can buy when you can access another 10,000 from your super in July?
Oh, dude, don't. Please don't. I know. Like, the problem is you say that out loud, and I'm like, someone's already done that. I can guarantee it.
you say that out loud, and you're like, he's gonna actually do it. It's not a
I
joke.
would
Or
be
that, yeah.
single. I wouldn't even blame Jess for leaving me at that point.
The thing is, the thing that gets me is you haven't even played a game of it yet. Like, you've gotten some guys and you're painting them and you're setting up an army and stuff, but you haven't played the game yet. You don't know if you enjoy it yet.
Well, the thing is, I enjoy it as a collecting and painting and building, which, a lot of people just do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a legitimate hobby unto itself.
Yeah.
So
There's a thing where you can just buy, like, it's essentially like a model kit, and you just like put it together and you make a
I'll just be
Gundam.
back in a second, guys.
Sure.
No. Let's not end this the way we started it. I'm not talking about it anymore.
Anyway, I was just saying I wouldn't mind making a Gundam at some point. It feels like it'd be fun.
Yeah, they're pretty detailed, actually. Those.
They're massively detailed. Yeah, you basically make like a proper statue out of them. It's like, oh, a Gundam.
Just as an aside, my pizza is so cold.
Yeah, have you been? Did you have enough time to eat it?
I've eaten like 3 slices.
I noticed you muted a couple of times. I was like, I wonder if that's the pizza.
Could that be pizza
Yeah.
mutes?
Been downing some Mountain Dew.
Oh god, you're such a gamer.
Did Nick try the Mountain Dew Doritos?
He gave me a packet. I've got an unopened packet here. I don't know if he gave it to me with the intention of us eating it while we were together that day.
Here for a special occasion, just the two of us, some
But
Mountain Dew Doritos.
I've taken it and I've claimed it, and I might record me trying it. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a review. It's going to be our
Alright, well-
first Gamer Fuel review.
It feels
While we're
like you
waiting
should
for
eat
Nick to
those
get
and
back,
spray on the
you will.
deodorant. Spray on the Xbox deodorant as well.
Yeah.
The
That's,
gamer, the gamer deodorant.
Spray the
whatever it is.
Xbox deodorant into the Mountain Dew chips.
probably might
Make
taste
the
better.
ultimate gamer meal.
I'm going to review any gaming, food, or hygiene related products, and it's going to be a new series.
I thought you were going to try the
I'm
chips
back.
now.
Josh
Hey.
is talking about hygiene. I'm worried.
We're
He's
talking
saying how he
about
doesn't
the
have
Mountain
any.
Dew Doritos.
Oh yeah,
Did you try them, Nick? Because I was just
have
saying
tried them.
that. Okay. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. I want to
I
go
was
in
about
fresh.
To say, I want you to eat them and figure out how you feel about them.
I'm just saying, I've come up with a great idea for a new short form series. I'm announcing it here. Get excited, ladies and gentlemen. Any gaming, hygiene related products or food, I'm going to review.
Nick,
Just
I need
for-
to know
just for the
right
people.
now. Just send me an emote on the phone, like how you feel about the Mountain Dew chips.
All right, you know what? That's all right. In the background, we're gonna run this. Where are you?
It's the poo emoji, isn't it?
You're right there.
I'm not going to tell you. I just need to know. I'm spoiling
I'm not
myself.
even gonna send you an emoji. I'm gonna send you a GIF.
Oh man.
And,
Oh, has to be very
I
descriptive.
know exactly what one I want to send. I thought about it, and I already knew this one existed. It's a stock image that I've seen for years.
Nice.
There you go, Jamie. You've now got the in motion version of how I felt about those chips.
Part of me thinks about a
Yeah,
particular Monty
that-
Python gif, which might be.
I feel like that's what I expected. Oh, also I'll probably play some Persona.
Yeah, I'll probably play a little bit of that myself. So
We're going to play Age of Empires first before anything else, though, right?
Mhm. Yes, Josh. We'll play Age of Empires.
Yes, son, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Good. That's
All right.
okay.
Well, thanks for listening, everybody. I've been
What a
Jamie.
ride.
I've been Nick.
I mean, Josh.
I'm pretty sure it was Dave.
Yeah. Who
And-
knows after I edit this?
Well, hopefully Dave is still Dave.
Yeah.
Are you saying you're going to edit Dave out? He's just.
No.
Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody. Good night.
Bye bye.
God to be
Peace.
with ye.
Suckers.
Ooh.
All right. Well, that was the podcast.
That was Josh digging his own fucking grave for 3/4 of that. Oh, yeah, no, you kept it rolling over multiple issues. Whew.